16a, the 10, 15 lines down. So we're in the middle of something. So let's just review that something for a second. We had a dispute, Reish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan, whenever you have a positive commandment which follows a negative commandment. It's called a lav hanita glase. So is the understanding that the negative commandment is dependent on the positive commandment, and therefore you'll never get malchus unless you find a way to totally nullify an opportunity to perform that positive commandment. So we'll see more about this later. And according to the other opinion, it was just you violated a negative commandment, and then the positive commandment afterwards gives you the opportunity to rectify what you just did. So, and the Gemara just brought the example of nosar. Maybe we'll start from a few lines back. Actually, we'll start from the Travayu. Just quickly review the fifth line. The Travayu aliba de Rabbi Yehuda. Both Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish go like Rabbi Yehuda. The Tanya v'lo sir menu ad boker, that you can't leave over korbanos until the morning. But then the Torah tells you a positive commandment, v'hanosar menu, if you do, go and burn it. The Torah gives you a positive commandment which follows the negative commandment. Lomar she'ein lokin alav, to teach you that you won't get malchus. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. That's the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. So you have a positive commandment following the negative commandment. It's called halav anita glase, and therefore you do not get malchus. Now, what would happen if you didn't have that positive commandment there? Rabbi Yochanan dai kachi. Rabbi Yochanan understands the following: time of the ba'kas of halo ba'kas of loke. Rabbi Yochanan says it's only because you have a positive commandment which follows the negative commandment. But if you didn't have that, of course you would get malchus. Why? Alma hasra safik shmei hasra. It's called a hasra safik because you don't know if he is or he's not going to leave it over until the morning. So you warned him, don't leave until the morning. That warning is a doubt. You're not sure if it's going to happen or not going to happen. Rabbi Yochanan says that would have been enough to give him malchus because he holds hasra safek shmei hasra is still considered a good warning. Reish Lakish dai kachi. No, time ba'kas of halo ba'kas of loka. Just reviewing, don't worry. So according to Reish Lakish, the reason why you don't get malchus because there's a positive commandment that follows. But if there wasn't a positive commandment, halo ba'kas of loka. Why? Alma lav she'ein bo ma'aseh lokin alav. So according to Reish Lakish, it's a lav she'ein bo ma'aseh. It's a lav which you didn't do anything because you just left it. You passively left it until the morning. Such a negative commandment, you do get malchus. So now, Reish Lakish holds a lav she'ein bo ma'aseh is lokin alav, and Rabbi Yochanan holds that a hasra safek is considered a good hasra. Now, why doesn't each one hold like the other? Yeah?
I don't understand. What's this hasra safek?
You warning the guy, don't leave it over until the morning.
Right.
That we consider is called a hasra safek. Because usually hasra has to immediately be followed by the aveira that's done. But here, you have all day. If it was right before Shkia, 1 minute left, or whatever, 1 minute before the morning, then fine. But here you have a whole day. Yeah. So you're not sure what's going to be. You have another 10 hours. Is he going to leave it over or not? So now each one, Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish, why don't they hold of the other one? So Reish Lakish, who held this is considered a lav that doesn't have an action associated with it, you're just leaving it over, and yet he holds you would get malchus if not for the fact that if there's a positive commandment over here. So he also should agree. Havade hasra safeku. According to Reish Lakish, this is also hasra safek. And yet, we had earlier on Tesla Amud Beis that he holds that's not a good hasra. So, according to Reish Lakish, how could you get malchus for this if there was no positive commandment? Shouldn't he agree this is a case of a hasra safek, and he himself holds hasra safek is not good? So that the Gemara says you're right. Savar la ki'idach Tana de Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Shlokish holds like a different Rabbi Yehuda. The Tanya, a different Tanaic statement of Rabbi Yehuda. The Tanya. Now, this case, interesting case. So we know that a husband's supposed to wait after he divorces his wife 3 months before remarrying. Why? Because if he doesn't wait 3 months, and wife number one was pregnant, and then the wife's supposed to wait 3 months before getting remarried. Why? Because if she was pregnant from the first husband, and she doesn't wait 3 months, and then she gets married to the second husband right away, and she has a baby, then we're not sure. Okay, it depends when she has the baby, but if she has a baby 9 months after the second marriage, then you know it came from the second husband. But if she has a baby 7 months after she got married to the second husband, so then we're not sure who does the kid belong to. Is he a 7-month baby from the second husband, or is he a 9-month baby from the first husband? There's no 8-month babies in the Gemara's time. So now, in that case where she did not wait and she did get married right away, and then a child was born, so now we're not sure who the father is. So let's say the Tanya. So he's going and he's hika. So he's hika zeh v'chazer hika zeh. So these two dads are hanging out, and they got this kid really upset at them, and he goes to whack both of them. Yeah. So he goes and punches hika zeh v'chazer hika zeh. He punches Reuven, maybe his father, and then he goes and punches Shimon. Maybe they're fighting over who the son is. He's getting upset about it, so he punches them. So, or he curses them, kil zeh v'chazer kil zeh, or he curses Reuben and then curses Shimon, or hika shneim bebas achas, he punched them both, I guess in one shot. Rashi says it doesn't mean one punch for both of them, it means bahasra achas, b'tok kedei dibur, meaning someone warns you, don't punch these two dads, don't punch these two men. They might be your father, don't punch them. And he goes, and within whatever, a 3-second time period, he ends up punching both of them. So, or he curses both of them. Oh, Kollel, he curses both of them. Also in one setting. He curses them both in one setting. He gets warned, don't curse these guys. They might be, one of them is your father, don't curse them. And he goes and curses both of them right together in one setting. Chayiv. Then you're obligated. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, though, no. You're not obligated in all those cases. Only in one of them. Bebas achas chayiv. But bezeh charzeh pater. Rabbi Yehuda says only if you're warned. These don't hit these two people. So that's considered hasras vadai, because your warning was on these two people, do not smite them or do not curse them. Then if you do it, then you'll be liable for hitting a father or for cursing a father. But if it's one after another, so according to Rabbi Yehuda, that's not going to be chayav. Bezeh charzeh pater, because that's already considered a hasras suffix. That's not within that toch kedei dibur, that 3-4 second time period. So you get warned for one guy, and then you get warned for the second guy. So that second warning, that is going to be considered a hasras suffix. So if you get warned right now, don't hit this guy, and then you're told, and don't hit that guy. So that second guy is just like nosar. It's considered a hasras suffix. The first guy is going to be hasras vadai, because that's within that time frame between your warning and your avera. But the second guy already is going to be too far removed, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, that's considered a hasras suffix. So Reish Lakish, who holds a hasras suffix, lav shmei hasra, is not a good warning. Warning has to be definite, much more definite. So he holds like this Rabbi Yehuda that says bezeh achar zeh is pater. So Reish Lakish goes like the other Rabbi Yehuda, and we're going to ask it's a steer in Rabbi Yehuda's. So that we have to see. So we are on page 16A.
16A2.
Okay.
Yeah, in the new metric system. Yeah. So so that is Reish Lakish. Now
16A2.
Okay.
Yeah, to the power of 3.
Well, I see
times
that.
4
I was supposed
divided by 6, footnote 8.
I see it.
Okay.
Seguimos.
Yeah.
Seguimos.
Yeah, you get your TI-84 calculator out.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So remember those? With the games on them? No? Yeah. So, okay, that's Reish Lakish. Now, Rabbi Yochanan says, Rabbi Yochanan who said that the only reason that you get malchus is because you don't get malchus is because there's an asay after nosar. But if there's no asay, you would get malchus. Well, hold on. That's also a lav she'ein bo maisa. You're just sitting back, relaxing, and watching the food stay until the morning. Rabbi Yochanan himself holds a lav she'ein bo maisa. If you have a negative commandment with no action, you violate it by not doing an action, you don't get malchus. So how is he able to say that without the asay, you would get malchus? There's no action associated over here. Rabbi Yochanan nami havade lav she'ein bo maisahu. Says the Gemara, you're right. So all these names in the name of Rabbi Yehuda, Omer, Mishum Rabbi Yossi Haglili, in the name of Rabbi Yossi Haglili, Kol lo saseh shebetorah, lav sheyesh b'maisa, lo kan alav, lav she'ein b'maisa, ein lo kan alav. Every negative commandment, except for 3, we'll see in a second, you have to do an action in order to get lashes. If there's no action, if you violate it without doing an action, then you do not get, you don't get lashes. Except for 3 cases. Chutz min hanishba, one who makes a shvua, or meimar, one who does tmura, you take the sanctity of one animal and you switch it to another animal, or mekalas chaver b'shem, or you curse your friend with God's name. Those 3 are unique in that even though the way you violate them is by not doing an action, but yet they are still going to get you malchus. Yeah.
No, sorry.
No, not no sir. Not no sir. No sir would be a negative commandment which does not have an action. And therefore, if not for the fact that the Torah told you to go and burn it, then you would get malchus. So now the problem is, our original case of no sir, Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish, each had different opinions why you would have gotten malchus. The problem was that nosar is both hasra safek and the lav she'ein bo maisa, has 2 strikes against it. So we ended up saying, you're right, Reish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan each hold like other opinions of Rabbi Yehuda. The problem is, and now comes out a contradiction within Rabbi Yehuda. Kasha Rabbi Yehuda, other Rabbi Yehuda. So it's a kasha, according to, let's say, Reish Lakish, so who held that if not for the fact that Torah told you to burn it, you would have gotten malchus. Why? Because it's a lav she'ein bo maisa lo kan alav. Rabbi Yehuda just told you lav she'ein bo maisa ein lo kan alav. According to Rabbi Yochanan, if not for the fact that Torah told you to burn it, it's a hasra safek. But the other Rabbi Yehuda held hasra safek is not good. So it's a contradiction within Rabbi Yehuda. So now, if it's according to Reish Lakish, either Reish Lakish, so that's an easier answer. Or not easier. The answer would be Trey Tanai, Alib Rabbi Yehuda. You're right. It's a machlokas, different Tanaim in the name of Rabbi Yehuda. He held Rabbi Yehuda said, Lav she'ein bo maisa lo kan alav. And he said in the name of Rabbi Yehuda, Lav she'ein bo maisa ein lo kan alav. So, fine. So that's that. According to Rabbi Yochanan, who held that Rabbi Yehuda holds either hasra safek is a good hasra or not a good hasra, what are you going to say? Lo kasha, hadidei, hadirabe. So Rabbi Yehuda himself, like by nosar, would agree you do get malchus for a negative commandment that does not have with it that does not carry with it an action. That which we said that you don't get malchus if you're violate a negative commandment, that is according to Rabbi Yossi Haglili. It was Rabbi Yehuda in the name of his Rebbe. Is it Rabbi Yehuda in the name of his Rebbe? He held that you don't get malchus. Rabbi Yehuda himself held you do get malchus. So at the end of the day, Rabbi Yehuda is solved. Either there's a machlokus, what he holds by a negative commandment that you violate without that hasra safek, a warning which is dependent on something else, which we refer to as a hasra safek. Is that good or not? Is 2 opinions according to Rabbi Yehuda, or
Is that like contradictory to say lo aseh and say there's no action?
So there's a negative commandment
Not to do it, but there's not an action.
Right. So for example, you're not allowed to leave the korban over until the morning.
Right.
How do you violate it? By sitting back, relaxing.
Non-action.
Right. Yeah.
So
You're watching television all night, watching your favorite Netflix
But
series.
it just seems contradiction. Lo aseh, right?
But you have those, and it can make a big difference in terms of yeah.
Shouldn't have chametz in your possession.
Shouldn't have chametz in your possession. Yeah, if you let it sit there, then you over buy ribeye by matzah. Yeah, good. Yeah, it could make a difference. Maybe how much money you have to give to not violate a negative commandment. Okay, whatever.
So they do the action or not?
Yeah. Also, positive commandment, you could fulfill it by not doing it, fearing your parents. You have a mitzvah to fear your parents by not sitting in their seat. That's the flip side.
By non-action.
Yeah, you're passively fulfilling a positive commandment. That's also interesting. Yeah. Okay. So now another example of a negative commandment followed by a positive commandment. The Torah says that if you want to take the eggs, you have to send away the mother bird. Right? So lo sikach, you cannot take the eggs, send away the mother bird. So now, Tanan Hasam, we learned in the Mishnah in Kollel. Hanotel aim alabanim, one who takes the mother from the chicks. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Loka ve'eno mishaleach. Now, I don't have the psukim in front of me. I don't think. Yeah, I don't have the psukim in front of me, but it says there the word shalach, meaning it says you shouldn't lo sikach ha'aim, rather send away. What does it mean send away? Does it mean send away first and then take the eggs? Or does it mean if you took the eggs, now rectify it with a positive commandment by sending it away? When do you send away? Do you have to send away the mother bird first and then take the eggs? Or it's just telling you like, no, sir, once you did something wrong and you took the eggs, so, well, now you should go and send the mother bird away.
Do you have the pasuk there?
No. Yeah. Usually I do have a quote, but yeah. Lo sikach aim alabanim, and then shalach. So now, Rabbi Yehuda says you get malchus. Why? Because he understands that the sending away is really an instruction what you should do originally. It's a asay that's preceding a lav. It's really telling you first send away, then take the mother bird. So even though it's mentioned afterwards in the Torah, but it's instructing you what to do first. So it's not considered a lav hanitak la'aseh. A lav hanitak la'aseh is either a negative commandment which is dependent on the positive commandment, or it's can be rectified with a positive commandment. Here, according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's telling you first first send away the mother bird and then take the eggs. Therefore, if you don't do that, then you get malchus. Lo kev eino mishalech, and then there's no rectification, so to speak, to send the mother bird away. That's not what the Torah is telling you. According to Rabbi Yehuda, according to Chachamim omrim mishalach ve'eino loke. No, it's a classic lav hanitak la'aseh. You violated a negative commandment. Now go and send away the mother bird, and if you do it, then that will not get you malchus like every other lav hanitak la'aseh. So now, zeh haklal. This is the rule. Kol mitzvahs lo saseh sheyesh ba kum aseh. All the negative commandments that have with them, which are followed by a positive commandment, ein chayavin aleha. You will not be chayav malchus. Oh, and now we're going to have a statement of Rabbi Yochanan, which is going to keep us busy for a while. Amar Rabbi Yochanan ein anu ela zos ve'od acheres. The only case Rabbi Yochanan holds that this is true is the case of sending away the mother bird and some other case. Now, background. We had two opinions yesterday. What does it mean, alav hanitak la'aseh? So there's two fundamental ways to understand it, which is a machlokes Reish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan. But now, is the pshat that the negative commandment is dependent on the positive commandment? So you're never going to violate fully the negative commandment unless you can somehow get rid of the positive commandment. So we'll see, but just to make it clear, so we had a case of a guy rapes a woman, he has to marry her, right? She has to be his wife. He's not allowed to send her away. And then we had a positive commandment that he has to keep her. Even after if he divorces her, he has a positive commandment to take her back. So now what if he makes a neder? He makes a vow to never get any pleasure from her. So now he has violated his opportunity to ever fulfill the positive commandment. Now you'll get malchus for that negative commandment of sending her away. They're dependent on each other. As long as you could fulfill the positive commandment, you're not fully violated the negative commandment. And the other way to understand it was, no, you violated it right away, and Bezin tells you either malchus or do the positive commandment. Rabbi Yochanan is of the opinion that they're dependent on each other. So in this case, so they're dependent on each other, which means you're not going to get malchus for the negative commandment unless you find a way to totally nullify your opportunity to fulfill a positive commandment. So so now in this case, for instance, you took the eggs. Now you have a positive commandment to send the mother bird away. You have not violated fully the negative commandment until you've sent the mother bird away. Now, if you kill the mother bird, now you can't send her away. Now you violated the negative commandment. So says Rabbi Yochanan, this is a case where I will agree that you would get malchus, because if I kill the mother bird, so then I can no longer do the positive commandment. Now the negative commandment will be violated, and I will get, and the person will get malchus. There's only this case and one other case. So what is the one other case? Amar Rabbi Lazar, Heicha Amarle. So where'd you say it? What's the other case? So he tells them, Amarle lechi tishkach. Go find it. So Rabbi Lazar went down, Nafak Dak Eshkach, and he found it. The Tanya, our case from yesterday. Ones Shagirish. So now a person who raped a lady, then married her, then divorced her. If he's a regular Yisrael, Im Yisrael who machzir ve'eno lokeh, if he's a regular Yisrael, he can take her back, and he doesn't get malchus. Im Kohen who lokeh ve'eno machzir. If he's a Kohen, though, he gets malchus because he cannot take her back, because he can't marry a divorcee. So now, Hanicha laman detani kaimu v'loi kaimu. That was the language from yesterday. Kaimu v'loi kaimu means that Bezdin tells you, right now you violated the negative commandment of divorcing the lady that you raped. Either fulfill the positive commandment and take her back, or we're going to give you malchus. So that's very understandable. If you say, no, I'm not taking her back, then we give you malchus. So if you hold like Rabbi Yochanan, bitlu v'lo bitlu, that it's only when you've nullified the positive commandment have you violated the negative commandment. So how do you get malchus in this case? Because I sort of spoiled it already by saying about the nether case, but the Gemara is going to try to figure it out. Bishlam agabi shiluach hakan, when it talks about sending away the mother bird, mishkachasla, by killing the mother bird, there you have nullified your positive commandment, and therefore you get malchus. Ela ones bitlu v'lo bitlu heikem mishkachasla. What's the case where you have totally nullified your positive commandment, and therefore you have you will be in violation fully of the negative commandment? So now maybe you'll say you killed the lady. Eat the katla. Well, hold on. If you killed her, so you're not going to get malchus because you're now liable for death. So kamle midrab minei, you get the greater punishment, which tells you that if you have death or malchus, if you have death and malchus, you will get the death penalty and not malchus. So that's not a good example. Where's a case where you will actually practically get lashes for nullifying the positive commandment of taking back the lady who you were not allowed to divorce, who you raped originally? Amar of Simi Mechuzana, Kigon Shekibala Kiddushin Macher. You went and accepted Kiddushin for this lady from somebody else. So Reuven raped Rachel, and then he married her, and then he divorced her. And then Reuven goes to Shimon and accepts Kiddushin from Shimon on behalf of Rachel. And now Shimon's married to Rachel, so Rachel can't marry Reuven. She's already married.
You would say he's acting as a shliach for somebody else to marry her? That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Where did we cover this?
probably about 7.5 years ago. No.
No, anyway, sorry. Somebody's having Kiddushin on somebody else's hat.
Yeah, right. That's allowed. That you're allowed to do. So now, Amarav, hold on. If she herself made him a shaliach, so she was mevatel the mitzvah, not him. She nullified the opportunity to get married, not him. She made him a shaliach. And if she didn't make him a shaliach, then it doesn't work. And ilo should be shaliach kol kamine velo klumi. You can't just go accept kedushin for women without them making you a shaliach. That doesn't work. So you feel bad for your friends. You tell me, don't worry, I got you, and you accept kedushin on his behalf. But she never agreed to it. So what's the case where he nullified this positive commandment? She made a vow. He made a vow on her in public. So he made a vow that he'll never get any benefit from her, and therefore he's not allowed to marry her now.
I said that she should be forbidden to.
Right? He made a nether. He made a nether forbidding any pleasure from her. Therefore he can't get married. Therefore he can't marry her. Oh, so he nullified his positive commandment.
That's only marrying her is a pleasure.
No. You're asking a good question. It probably has to do with his obligations to her. He can't fulfill those. Right. If it's just being a roommate or something, then it might be fine. Yeah. So kigon shehidir barabim. So says the Gemara, hold on. That's also not considered fully nullifying it. Why? There's two opinions. Can a neder, which was taken in front of many people, can that ever be nullified? So if it can't, then you're in business. You've nullified a positive commandment. But if you could nullify your vow on this lady, so that's not considered fully nullifying your positive commandment of taking her back, because you could always nullify your vow and then take her back. So now, the madirala al das rabim. I didn't know exactly this case, but you took a vow from her al das rabim, that with the knowledge of many people.
I mean, everybody's like agreeing. Like,
yeah, exactly.
This is a good nutter. You did good.
Right. So Rashi explains that you found some avera in her, and therefore everyone agrees. Oh my gosh, yeah, for sure. You shouldn't get any pleasure. She can never be your wife. Such a lady who did such averas, and everyone's in agreement. Yeah, she eats kabraks. Exactly. So she eats kidneys and well, yeah. So the Amar, that's for sure. So the Amar, yeah. Maybe she was born in Israel. Okay. So the Amar Amemar Hilchas. So the halacha is nether shehudar barabim, a nether that was taken in barabim. Yesh lo hafara. There you can annul it. Al das rabbim with the concession of the rabbim with their agreement. Ein lo hafara. Oh, so we found our case. You make a nether from her that you won't get any pleasure from her, with the concession of the crowd, and therefore that will not be annulled, and therefore you have nullified your opportunity to ever fulfill the positive commandment, and now you will get malchus for violating the negative commandment. So this was Rabbi Yochanan, shiluach hakan, where you kill the mother bird, and this case. So says the Gemara, hold on. The suleka, there's no other cases. V'ha'ika, simin, gezel, mashkon, upeya. We have three cases. Gezel, classic case. You steal an object. D'rachmana amar loy sigzel. The Torah says don't steal. And then it says, v'heishiv esagzela, return the lost object. That's one. Two, mashkon, a collateral. Rachmana amar lo saval beiso lavat avuto. You can't go into someone's house and just take their object as a collateral. So they owe you money. You can't just go in their house and take the Rolex watch as a collateral until they pay you back. Rather, what does it say? Hashiv tashiv lo. Go give it back to him. If you walk into his house, took his object, go give it back to him. So, hashiv tashiv lo ha'abut kiba hashemesh. Or it's referring to the case where you took someone's collateral, but they don't have they only have one pair of clothing. So one pair of night clothing. So you have to make sure you give back the collateral to him, that clothing at nighttime, and in the morning time, give him back his morning clothing. So you have a positive commandment to give back the mashkon, a collateral. You have a positive commandment to give back gzela. Now, umishchakas la b'kaimu v'loy kaimu, ubitlu v'loy bitlu. Whatever you hold, whether you hold kaimu v'loy kaimu or bitlu v'loy bitlu, all you have to do is just if you destroy the object, then you destroy the possibility to ever fulfill your positive commandment. So you took the Rolex watch and you burnt it. Says the Gemara, no, not so fast. Hasam, kevan dechayev b'tashumin. You owe him, right? You have to pay him whatever it was, $1,000 because you stole, or $1,000 for the watch you stole. So you have to pay him $1,000. So now that you
to be that exact watch that you took.
Oh, so that's what we're saying. You're really obligated to him money. So since you're really obligated money, ein loke u'mishalim, you're not going to get malchus and have to pay him money. Rather, you'll have to give back money. You have to pay him money.
Same thing with the blanket. If you took his blanket,
Right, and you ruin
returned
it.
a different blanket. Say, yeah, this one's just as good.
So it's not considered a full nullification because you still have ties to the guy. You're right. You destroyed this mashkon, but now you owe him $1,000 for that. You have to replace it. So, and there you can't get loco mishalim. So that's not going to be a good case. Says the Gemara, I'll find you another case. Maskifla Rabbi Zera, Ha'ika mashkono shel ger. So you have a guy who converts. Now he has no official relatives halachically. So mashkono shel ger, and now umeis hager, and now the ger dies. So now you're not obligating anybody money. Who are you obligating money to? So assuming that he doesn't have children. If he has children, obviously then he's a regular Jew. But assuming that he doesn't have children, and so then what do you do? So says the Gemara, no. Hasam gavra bar tashumenu. You still owe money. It's just vishibuda de gerhu de kapaka. It's interesting thing. Your lien to the convert, so has left you. But it's interesting, even though you can't practically pay anybody, but we still view you as somebody who does owe money. It's just your obligation to the non-Jew. He's not alive anymore, just left. So that's interesting because really there's no one to give money to.
That's interesting why we picked the case of a ger. You could just say about anybody who doesn't have any relatives.
But that the Gemara says no such thing. That the Gemara says everybody. If you go back somewhere, his 8 cousin 10 times removed, you're going to find somebody. The case of someone who has no relatives is going to be a ger.
Keep going back to the most distant relative.
Yeah. When it comes to Yushin Baba Basra, exactly. Yeah, that's Gemara Baba Basra. You're going to go back to somebody. So somewhere back in the So this is also interesting because there's no one to pay money to, but that's because the shibud of the ger left you because he's not here anymore. But you're still considered somebody who does owe money. It's interesting. Okay, what about paya? You have to leave part of your field. It doesn't have to be the corner; it can be a different part of the field. But yeah, it's called the corner of your field. Fine, you can leave. Yeah, you have to leave the corner of your field, and then it says, don't make sure you leave some of your field. Don't destroy the whole field. Leaves la'ani v'lager tazo. Make sure for the poor person, the ger, you leave some over. So there also, let's say you so now the case here is what's the case? Right now we're assuming that once you've taken the wheat and you ground it into flour, you no longer have an obligation to give part of your produce, part of your field to the poor people. Once you've taken the part of the field and you take the wheat and you ground it into flour, there's no longer an obligation of payah. You have nullified your positive commandment of giving part of your field to the ani or the ger, to the poor person or the convert. Right now we'll see much more about that. The Tanakh in the Mishnah says, mitzvah payah. The mitzvah of payah is lahafresh min hakama. So you have to take from your not the stalks, before the stalks.
The standing things.
The chaff? Not the chaff.
Chaff is the one that's already standing.
Standing, okay. Still planted. Lo hifresh min hakama. If you don't take, if you didn't separate that for the poor people, mafresh min ha'omrim. This is more of the stalks, no? An omer more considered called the
grains, the kernels.
The kernels. Okay, good. Thank you. The kernels. So lo hifresh min ha'omrim. If you didn't do that, mafresh min hakri. You put it all into a pile, and before you smoothen it out. So that's also achlo meriach. Until you smoothen out your pile of produce, you can still give to the poor person. Mercho. So now once you smoothen it out, so now you're obligated to give meiser. So merechu. So then meiser the nosin lo. First you have to give meiser, and then you can give to the and then you can give payah to the poor person. But that's it. After that, you're done. So once you've taken that wheat and ground it into flour, you're no longer obligated in giving payah. So therefore, that's also an example of nullifying your opportunity to fulfill the positive commandment. Says the Gemara, no, we're going to Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Yochanan must be going to Rabbi Shmuel, because Rabbi Shmuel, the Amar, af mafresh mina isa. You can even, Rabbi Shmuel says, even after you take the wheat and you grind it into flour, you can still give some of that flour to the poor person, and therefore you still have not nullified your opportunity to fulfill the positive commandment.
What do you mean? You could just mamish eat everything. You baked it all, you ate it all, there's nothing left to do. Eventually you're gonna run out of the option to give it to him. Okay, you turned it into flour, so you said, but okay, what if you baked the bread and then you ate it? Why don't we go that far?
Steve, help me. Steve, help me.
Okay.
Good question.
Must be a point, I think.
Good question.
Like impossible. You can't eat all of it. Okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah, good question. Very good question.
It's the very next question in the Gemara.
Is it?
Oh, Rabbi Shmuel. It's so good. I was waiting for the Gemara to ask it. So, Rabbi Shmuel, Nami Meshachla, the Achal Isa. Oh, very good. You ate the flour. Very good. You ate. So you ate the flour. So you're right. Now it's gone. Now you can't give it to them anymore. Oh, very good. So, Ella Zos V'Oda Cheres was aha. When Rabbi Yochanan says that the case of Shiluch HaKan and another case is where you will get malchus, he was talking about Peah. The case where you used up all the flour, there's no more flour here. That was the case. Well, if that's true, what's with Ones? So then, Aval Ones, low. But Ones, the case where the guy raped a lady, then married her, then divorced her, and then instead of taking her back, he made a vow with the concession of the public that he's never going to take her back. That we said was the case where he can never rectify it anymore. That was the third case. But Rabbi Yochanan said only two cases exist. What's with Ones? Al das rabim ein lo hafara. That's only ledvar harishus. Aval ledvar mitzvah yesh lo hafara. Really, this idea that when you take a vow with the concession of the public, you can never annul it, that's only by a dvar rishus, some other non-mitzvah purpose. But if it's regarding a mitzvah like this case, you fulfill a mitzvah by taking her back as a wife, that could be annulled. Kiha, as we'll bring a case, the makri dardiki, the hava pasha. So there was a teacher of students, and he was hitting them too much. He was too strict with them. So pasha beinoki, I think that means he was giving them lashes. Yeah, Makah osam yosem. That says. So what happened? They said, so I'm not gonna fire him. Rather, they'll do like this. Ajay Rav Acha. So Rav Acha said he made a vow that nobody else can learn from him. Now, how does he do that? Either he made all the fathers make a vow. He convinced the fathers to make a vow that their kids are not going to learn from him anymore. I don't know how he can make a vow that someone else can.
You got all the kids together. And like,
yeah, you made all the kids together, but you can't make a vow for someone else. It has to be, so probably he convinced the fathers to do it. Fine. So then what happened? But Ravina, Vahaji Ravina, the lo ishtach the dayik kivase. At the end of the day, he took out his belt too much, but he was so precise. He did such a good job teaching. They couldn't find anybody else like him. So Ravina went and annulled the vow and brought him back. So what do you see? Even though there was a neder, a vow that was done with the concession of everybody, but Ravina felt for a mitzvah purpose, no one. It sounds like there were teachers like him, but no one precise like him, as precise as him, and therefore he brought him back.
The point was there that was a Dvar Rishos.
Dvar mitzvah. That you're able to annul for a Dvar mitzvah, but not a Dvar Rishos. For a Dvar mitzvah, you could annul.
We said by the man and his wife,
It's a mitzvah.
He was chayav, yeah.
But now we're saying once we found the case of Peah,
yeah. So
that's the only two cases that you could fully nullify the positive commandment.
Okay.
Ones, what's ones?
Ones.
So we said there you can annul the vow for a Dvar mitzvah, but you cannot annul a vow with the concession of the public for a Dvar rishos.
Seems like with the monetary one you could too.
Let's go back 4 lines, just right now. Right? Aval ones lo tehecham rina al das rabim in lo fara l'dvar rishos. You cannot annul it. There it's a mitzvah to take back the wife. Aval l'dvar mitzvah yesh lo afara. And it's a mitzvah to take back the wife. So really you could annul that. So therefore it's not. Yeah. Okay. So now eating nevelis and trephus and shkatzim v'ramasim. So now you're gonna need the psukim, and here you go. This week's parsha, that you eat these things, you get a lot of malchus, and we're not going to go through all the psukim. Rashi brings them, or I'm sure the article brings them, but there's a number of different negative commandments for eating different creepy crawlies. So the ones that are crawling on the ground, you get a number of negative commandments. The ones that are in the water, you get a number of negative commandments. The ones that have wings, you get a number of negative commandments. So now, how much do you get? Amar of Huda. Ha'iman da'achal binisa debei krava. It sounds like some worm that's found in the krava,
Cabbage.
in the cabbage. Thank you. In the cabbage. That's one understanding. Yeah. Others argue. I don't know. It's a rashid. It's a worm that's found in the cabbage. Malkinan le mishum. You get malchus for what? Sheretz hashoretz ala aretz. You get malchus for the violation of the creepy crawly that is crawling on the ground. The Rashi, the Torah says lo ye'achel. It shall not be eaten. So you get malchus for that. Fine.
Wait, but that's once again, we're always talking about a case where someone had to give him a surah first. Don't eat that creepy crawly. Then he does it.
Correct.
No?
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, good. Yeah, good. So, mishum sheretz aretz. Hahu da'achal benisa debek. So hahu da'achal benisa debek krava. V'nagdi Rav Yehuda. A guy ate it, and Rav Yehuda gave him malchus. Yeah. Amar Abaye. Achal potisa. So now you're eating a potisa. It's some kind of creepy crawly that's in the water. It's a water creepy crawly. So loke arba. There you get 4 malchus. 2 for being a creepy crawly and 2 for being in the water. Nimala, the famous thing that kids know is the ant. If you eat an ant, right, you gotta be careful at home. Loke chamesh. You violate 5 negative commandments. Loke chamesh mishum sheretz hashoretz ala aretz. So it's a 2 for being a creepy crawly, and a number of them for being al haaretz. Yeah, Rashi brings all of them. Yeah. 2 just for a sheretz in general, and 3 lavin for a sheretz being on the ground. So there's always 2 lavin for a sheretz in general, 3 for being one that crawls on the ground. It's amazing how the Torah was so strict over these things. Yeah, a tzira is a wasp, right? A wasp you get 6, 1 for having wings. So 2 for general, 3 for on the ground, 1 that it could fly. So tzira. Next year, echad miodeya. We should go through these. Yeah, so tzira lokesh. Yeah, I can stop at 6. Sheish mishum sheretz of that for being a flying creepy crawly.
You find the melodies and the rhymes and let us know, really, or work on it.
ChatGPT.
There you go.
So that was an easy one. Yeah, Amar Rav Achai says, Hamasha. Okay, so now once we're mentioning not to be disgusting and these disgusting things, if one delays going to the bathroom, it's a very important halacha that you're over mishum lo tishaktu. Simply understood, I think it's really a derabanan, but we're using the pasuk as an asmachta, as a hint to it. Some do imply that it might be deraisa. I think the common approach is that is derabanan, but I have to look it up. But yeah, now how much time do you have to wait? It's a good question, but it's a very important halacha. Whenever you have to go to the bathroom, you're not allowed to wait. I thought it was for both.
For the other one, it's that you could turn yourself into.
I have to look it up. I don't know. I have to look it up. I thought it was both because Hamashas Nekava. Okay, but I have to look it up. So Amr Bibi Barabai Hayiman Deshasi Bekarna de Umna Ka'avar Mishum Lo Tishaktu. So this person is drinking a cup of blood. The guy bloodlet somebody. Now he's drinking from it. He's also over the avera of Lo Tishaktu. You're making yourself disgusting. Is this biblical? Is this rabbinic? Yeah, needs more explanation. Yeah, but drinking blood, right? One time I was wondering, like, a person bleeds, and they go and they try to get it off. Like, is that a problem? Drinking blood? Yeah. I don't know.
The Minchas Chinuch says that once it, or like if it leaves your mouth, once it leaves like your body,
then it's fine.
No, you can't.
You can, right. Yeah. Be careful not to drink blood. Yeah. So, yeah, better Gatorade or something. So, Amar Rava Baravuna. So resake tisha nemolim. So you have 9 crushed ones, right? Yeah. You crush up for dinner. Yeah. You crush up 9 ants, and then vehevi echad chai, and 1 alive one, veheshlim on the kazayas, and they add it up to a kazayas. So now you're lo shisha. You get 6. Chamesh mishum beria, ve'echad mishum kazayas. You get 5 sets of malchus because it's an entity, a beria. It's something. And you get a 6th one because you added up to a kazayas. That kazayas will get you another another lav. Of eating an avela. Of eating an avela, there you have to have a kazayas, so you get a sixth one for eating a kazayas. So Rava Amar Rabbi Yochanan, afilu shnayim, even two will get you six. That you'll violate six commandments. Amar Rabbi Yochanan afilu shnayim v'hu, two and then one more live ant. Rabbi Yosef Amar afilu echad v'hu, even one crush and one live ant. The low pligi, they're not arguing habaravri and habazutri. It just depends on the size of the ants. If the ants are bigger and they're already up to a kazayas, so then you're going to get an added violation of nevela. If they're not, then you won't. So it depends on how big and small your ants are.
By the way, the case of the drinking of blood, we're talking about.
We'll stop here.
When they're drinking from